All right, in this lesson, we're going to talk about inverse functions. So we're going to recall that a relation is a set of ordered pairs. So x, y. If I have a set of ordered pairs, it could look like this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 3. That would be a relation, right? It's just a set of ordered pairs. So I have a set, and there's 3 ordered pairs. A function is a relation in which every first coordinate, and what's the first coordinate usually? X, corresponds with exactly one of the second coordinates, which is y. So in this example, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 3, we want to know, is this relation a function? What do you think? Yes, it is. And that's because none of the x's repeat. Okay, so this one would be yes, a function. I'm going to come up with an example of no. So 2, 3, 2, 5, and 3, 5. This one is not a function. Can anyone tell me why it's not a function? Oh, okay, well, we haven't gotten there yet. But the 2's are repeating, and so that's why it's not a function. It actually doesn't matter that the 5's are repeating. The y can repeat infinitely in order for it to be a function, but the x's cannot repeat. Okay, so that's basically what the definition of a function is. Now, a function is one-to-one if no 2 distinct domain elements are paired with the same range. So actually in both examples that I gave, because the 3 is repeating and the 5 is repeating, this one, even though it's a function, it's not a one-to-one function, meaning that since the y is repeating, not, one of the elements of the range is paired with 2 different elements of the domain, so it's not one-to-one, essentially because y is repeating. So it's not a function if the same x value repeats with different y's, and it's not one-to-one if 2 of the y values, or if any of the y values, I should say, repeat, okay? And we're going to see what 2 examples look like in just a moment. Now you have, how do you tell if something is a function? You tell because it passes what's called the vertical line test. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute, but you have the idea of a horizontal line test. A horizontal line test tests to see if a function is one-to-one, meaning that none of the y values are repeating. So if you draw a horizontal line and you can pass through 2 or more points on the graph, that function is not one-to-one. So let's do 2 examples on the graph. Answer the following about y equals 2x minus 2. So what kind of function is this? If I look at y equals 2x minus 2, is that, we want to know if it's a function, but what does it look like to you? How would it graph? It's linear, and that's x to the first power, so it's a degree of 1. How would we graph this? Who can remember how to graph a line, a linear function? Y-intercept is -2, good. And then what? Oh, and that's because that's coming from the slope. Up 2 over 1, rise 2, run 1, rise 2, run 1, rise 2, run 1, rise 2, run 1. What if I wanted to get a point down here? Yes, negative, negative. Negative divided by a negative is a positive. And then we could graph it, right? Use our ruler. And we have a linear function. Okay, is this a function? Does this represent a function? What do you think? And that would be yes, it is a function. It's a function because if you were to create the table of values, x, y, when x was 0, y was -2. When x was 1, y, it looks like was, 0. I'm just grabbing these ordered pairs from here. When x was 2, y was 2. So that's another way to tell is none of the x values are going to give you basically two answers. It's not going to give you two different y values. And we test this using the horizontal line test. So who can remember what the equation of that horizontal line is that I just drew? It would be x equals 2. And all along this line, you'd have multiple x values being 2. So the x value here is 2, comma, negative 2. The x value here, 2, 2. The x value here, 2, 6. And so I'm just putting random points on that vertical line, but the vertical line itself is not a function because x is repeating with all of the different y's. In fact, it's not just 2 timing, right? It's infinite timing. X equals 2. So any vertical line is not a function. And can I cross the line that the graph that the line that I drew? Can I cross it with a vertical line and hit it more than once? No. Could I cross it with a horizontal line? What's the equation of this horizontal line? Y equals 4. Can I cross it and hit the graph more than once? No. So that means that this function is 1-to-1. If so, is the function 1-to-1? Yes, because it passes the horizontal line test. It does not hit more than 1 point. And so basically it is a 1-to-1 function because it passes the horizontal line test. Does that make sense? Okay, let's look at the second example. Answer the following: y equals x squared minus 2. What is that going to look like when I graph it? Yes, it's a quadratic, and that's because of the x squared, right? So the graph is a parabola, right? Okay, and essentially you're going to learn this in Math 111. You might as well mention it now because this is happening next term for you. If x squared, if you're going to subtract 2, essentially you're sliding all of the values down to negative 2. So our y-intercept is negative 2. And then we have this quadratic pattern, over 1, up 1, because that's 1 squared is 1. 2 squared is 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 squared. I go over 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4. And we know we have symmetry, right? 3 squared, what's 3 squared? So if I go over 1, 2, 3, I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that makes sense. That's 7 because we dragged it down 2. So that's it's kind of like what that is it's a shifting the graph down 2. You'll go over that transformations in Math 111 a little more, but that's just kind of a little hint what's going on. So is this parabola a function? And why would you say yes? It's a function because it passes the vertical line test, right? Vertical line test, if you draw a vertical line, you cannot cross the graph more than once with any vertical line. So that means none of the x values will repeat. None of the same x values will give you different y values. Will it pass the horizontal line test? So is it 1-to-1? When I draw a horizontal line, I can cross the function 2 times. So therefore, it's not 1-to-1, and it does not pass the horizontal line test. Any questions about that? Okay, we're going to take a moment and have you write these directions, and then we'll go over them in the next video.